Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of GRHRA's Ignite HR Hot Seat, featuring one of our partner sponsors for this segment. Today, we have the pleasure of featuring Kendra Schaapveld, Director of Business Development at Eastern Iowa Community College, and we are thrilled to have her participating in the hot seat today, which this is your first time. That being said, are you ready to jump into this today, Kendra? And I guess, first of all, how are you doing today?
Doing great today.
For everybody that's listening, this is the day after the July 4th holiday. So Kendra said she's well rested from having to go through travel ball and all of that. But first question that we'll jump into, Kendra, about Eastern Iowa Community College. What services does EICC offer businesses that are looking to train employees? I know that's a hot topic today.
Yes, it is. So EICC works with business and industry to reskill and upskill their workforce. So we work with new businesses coming into the state of Iowa, as well as businesses looking to upskill their incumbent workforce. So primarily working with manufacturers, businesses that work with logistics, warehousing, and transportation, and businesses that do commerce outside of the state.
Okay. If you had to put a percentage on that, is there a breakdown of how often that is versus other areas of focus? Is it quite heavy on that?
It is quite heavy on that. So Iowa is pretty unique in that our community colleges are also our vocational and technical schools.
Mm-hmm.
So primarily doing probably about 80% of our focus is vocational and technical work with our business and industry.
Yeah. I wish that they would have spoken more about vocational work and technical work when I was younger, going through high school and all of that, because it's just mind blowing how well people are paid doing that. So certainly people that are not going the I guess the full 4-year college route, it's an exceptional option for people to have available to them. Kendra, I know that you've spoken about it in the past, but what is contract training?
Contract training is where we identify the specific business needs that industry has and work with a subject matter expert in that specific need and come up with a specific plan to your business. So we sit down and identify what training needs that you have, develop a training specific to that, and then come on site, or we can do it in one of our many campuses and provide what you need. So whether it's, you take one of our already designed courses, or we take a course that we have and you identify the objectives that you like, and then we come and do a condensed version of that.
Yeah. So the experts that you have available, are they often the professors, the teachers of these classes that work hand in hand with you on that process?
They are, and a lot of them come directly from industry. So I think sometimes you hear community college and you think somebody with a PhD, and the majority of our instructors have worked decades in industry, and then they come work for us part-time. So we are always asking, do you have folks that are retiring but not ready to sit still yet? And oftentimes it's yes, we do. And so those folks that are ready to retire but not ready to just sit, they come and work for us, and they have, decades upon decades of knowledge that they want to continue to pass on. And so they come be our subject matter experts. And those are the individuals that we sit down with, and they say, okay, here's what we recommend. Here's how we're going to design the course for industry. And we take that back to your business and we implement that for your contract training.
Yeah. So they don't have a real PhD, but they have a PhD equivalent of on-the-job experience, which is invaluable to the employers and those that are going through that process. Last question I have for you, Kendra. What kind of financial support is offered to businesses located in Iowa?
Absolutely. So in Iowa, we have 3 different lines of support for financial services. So we have the Iowa New Jobs Training Program, which is known as the 260E program. That actually, I just learned recently, came out of the Iowa farm crisis in the 1980s. Yeah. We've had 2 states kind of mimic that program. So that program is our for new business that supports new business growth. So that's when you have a new line, or we have a new factory coming in, new manufacturing transportation logistics. So that program uses payroll tax diversion and sets aside a particular pot of dollars that over 10 years can provide OJT reimbursement, on the job training reimbursement, and customized training reimbursement. So that's a pretty large support for training new employees. And that is initially funded through a bond sale, and then those tax dollars are then diverted to pay that bond sale back. So that's a pretty significant investment in training for new positions coming into your particular business. The second particular funding stream is a forgivable loan, and that's the Iowa Jobs Training Program, or 260F. So that is a short-term training. We usually see that one wrapped up in 2 years. It can be extended for a third year. That's purely for customized training. We at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges kind of wrap that up at about a $30,000 cap. The state looks at that at about $100,000 over 3 years. So we try and take that as to smaller forgivable loans in smaller chunks, so we can have a little bit more focused training programs over the course of time. And then we also have our workforce training and economic development grant. Those are really, really small training grants that are more focused on what we can provide with the college, and that has a 50% match to it.
Yeah. So certainly that's available to all sizes, all industries. Do you find that it's more prevalent on certain sizes that are inquiring about that, where some just don't know where to start and ask that question? Or is it something right from the beginning that you just put this on the table and let them know here's some options available to you? How's that work there?
Yeah, so I think it's just easier if you reach out and ask, and we start talking about what makes the most sense for your business. It's easier if you come to us and say, I'm looking for some training, and how can we make that happen? So what we like to do is sit down with you and come up with an assessment and help you identify what makes the most sense for your business. And then we help you to understand how to make that happen. It can be very overwhelming, especially when you're dealing with government programs. And at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, we want to make this as easy as possible and as streamlined as possible. So we want to break down that paperwork, because we know it can be overwhelming. So we want to take on that burden as much as possible. And some of these grants can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to make it as streamlined and as simple as possible. And some of these grants are a little bit more simple and smaller. And so we want to have the one that is the right fit for you.
Yeah, I could see that there might often be employers where they're just doing the research on their own through the internet, and then they're just overwhelmed and then just consistently set it on the shelf. So understanding that there's resources such as this to take advantage of and reach out here, it's okay to ask the question and make this a lot easier for them. Well, Kendra, I want to thank you very much for taking part in the hot seat today. Hopefully the questions weren't too hot for you. I know this is your first time. For those of you who are listening, if this is your first time meeting Kendra, she's always happy to field those questions that we talked about there. And she participates, as well as her team, at many of the events that we put on throughout the year at GRHRA. So certainly check us out at www.grhra.org. And certainly meet Kendra at one of our upcoming in-person or virtual events. So Kendra, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you again.
Thank you.